Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. So today we have in the success story session Mr. Sidharth, and he has been in like government exam. He has been preparing for a long time. He did his chemical science and tech in 2014. He completed his graduation in 2014, and after that he went into the private sector, gave many of the exams, and he cleared the RBI Grade B this year in 2021. So we will be hearing that how many exams he gave, how many things he prepared for from him only. So hello, sir. First of all, congratulations for clearing RBI Grade B.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
So, will you like to tell something to the aspirants about your journey of different exams?
Okay, it's been a long journey, and I think this journey will be mostly helpful to those who are preparing for the exams as well, especially for UPSC, because my main aim since the last 5-6 years has been UPSC preparation. I have worked side by side, but I think mostly, even for RBI, I think UPSC preparation did help a lot. So in this past 6 years, I will guide you a little by, I'll give you a brief timeline about how it went through. I graduated in 2014 from IIT Guwahati in chemical science and technology. And then after I wanted to work for a startup, I wanted my own startup at that point of time. So we worked, a group of friends, we worked together for a startup for a year. Then from 2015, I thought, no, I think I want to go into UPSC preparation and RBI exams. So I enrolled in coaching in 2015. And the same time, I also enrolled in a sales job for a reputed pharmaceutical company. So I worked side by side because the pressure was less at that point of time. So I gave my first attempt in 2016. That went well. I thought that the prelim stage I cleared easily, but I couldn't clear the main stage. So, but the journey went quite a long way that way, because I have written 4 mains 4 times, but I wasn't able to clear it. But for RBI, I gave my first attempt, I think in 2018, and I wasn't serious at that time. Neither was I in 2019. But this year, when the notification came, I had just written my UPSC exam, and I thought this was the perfect time that I am free and I can give a proper attempt this time for the RBI Grade B examination. So I started my preparation this year in January, after January 20th. I think the last 10 days I started. And if I can give you a brief guidance about how the phase 1 preparation went. So I started for the current affairs. I started with EduTap and Bankers Adda, mostly for the current affairs section, which is the section which cost me the preliminary in the past 2 examinations. And for the quant, reasoning, and English subsections, I mostly gave mock test. I think which was more than necessary, which was more than sufficient, because having an engineering background, it was easier for me. I wouldn't give the same advice to those who don't have an engineering or mathematics background, because I have had several of my friends who have not made it in the first stage because they don't have that aptitude for maths, and it needs to be practiced at that point of time. Okay, so this was basically the.
Yes. So his background, like he had a long journey and he was preparing for UPSC, and after that he came, like he also gave the RBI exams. Though his first 2 attempts were not serious, he was able to clear in his first serious attempt. And he had also worked as a PO in a bank, IDBI. And he left, I think you left the job for preparation, right?
Yeah, I left the job. No, I didn't work for a long period of time. I worked for a period of 4 months only. I was posted in Bombay. I left the job last year in March, around March end. So I think that was a good learning experience for me. I had no idea of the banking sector experience before, and that gave me a pretty raw idea of how it works. So I did want to, after that experience, I thought that maybe I can do better, a little bit better, and I can try for NABARD and RBI. So that went well for me this year.
Yeah, like you had a long journey. So in like any year, in any like moment, did you felt very demotivated? Like now I just want to leave this exams.
Yeah, I think after your second or third attempt, you question every single day when you prepare that whether this is the right thing am I doing or not. But at that moment, you just have to be very clear in your head that either I'm doing this full time, or maybe I should go for an MBA or something. Because a lot of my friends, they have, including me, even I had left an MBA opportunity. I got into IIM Calcutta and I left that because I thought once I complete my MBA, I won't be able to give any serious attempt towards UPSC or RBI. So that was a turning point for me in 2019. I left my MBA preparation and I went full time into RBI and UPSC mode, and that helped me this year.
Okay, so it's like you have to keep a clear head. Like you want to do this and that's why you are doing it?
I think it's very difficult to say for because every individual is different. Everyone reacts, and I think everyone reacts, and I think they cope in different ways. So I don't think there's any single strategy. Everyone will question themselves at such periods, because I think a lot of us have good academic backgrounds, even those who don't. Yeah, even after successive failed attempts in different competitive examinations, you do question yourself: what exactly went wrong? Is my preparation lacking? Are my sources not sufficient? Should I enroll in a coaching center? So I think a little introspection and questioning is necessary. And if I can be quite candid, I can say कि हाँ, उस time, especially the last 3 years, I thought because it was make or break for my career, because I could have joined the private sector at that point of time, because after that it's too long. Because I graduated in 2014 till 2018-19, I could get a decent job. But I thought, no, I have invested a lot of time and effort into this. थोड़ा जिद भी था. I don't think it's rational to think that way. I wouldn't advise anyone to do so. But I think थोड़ा जिद के चक्कर में भी हो गया कि चलो यूपीएससी करना ही करना है, और नहीं हुआ तो आरबीआई में फुल अटेम्प्ट देना है. तो इस बार मैंने अपना फुल टाइम दिया, डिवोट किया. लास्ट अटेम्प्ट में आई हैड नो आइडिया about the second paper itself, the main section, finance and management bhi aata hai. This time I started from the main section first, and then I started prelims.
Okay, so that was like a good experience for the aspirants also, like knowing about it, that you might introspect, you might think that you won't be able to do it, but like keeping the journey on is the thing. Like you have to decide that you want to do it or you do not want to do it.
Yeah, because sometimes I think you have to let go as well, because it's because just of the dream you can't keep chasing. If things had gone sour, I would have said that I've made the biggest mistake of my life, and I should have went for that private job. I should have gone into MBA. So we don't know how things will turn out for us, but I think a good backup is necessary, because there's a lot of randomness in the interview section as well this year. So we don't know exactly how well we will do. We think that our interview would go well, but the marks say something different. So we need to focus on the main stage, I think, more from this year, especially as the weightage has been increased. Yeah, that's it.
So now we will start with the strategy part. And for phase one, like you said that you had good quant and reasoning because of your background of engineering, as well as you prepared for CAT and that PO, like for the bank exams. Mm-hmm. So for quant and reasoning, you didn't need to follow any book, you just gave the mock.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because for a new candidate, I think going through some books might be helpful. But as I've given CAT before, I had a rough idea. I had seen the RBI exam. I had seen the mock test. I thought, okay, this is doable. So I'll just practice. Rather than learn from books, I'll just practice the questions. So I used to give mocks, like every day one mock, maybe two. The past, I think before the last, in the last 2 weeks before the prelims exam, I used to give regular mocks. And I think you get a good idea from there on. And even for the banking awareness sector section, I think the mocks do help a lot, because you get to see the certain questions are being repeated in different mocks, and you get to know the importance of them as well, because there's a lot to cover. I think there's no depth of information. I think you need to I think you need to focus on breadth more rather than going in depth for the prelim stage, to cover as much topics as possible, because when their options are present, I think it helps in remembering. Whilst in mains, you have to know a lot, because you have to type. The descriptive portion is now 200 marks. So I think you need a more thorough understanding for the mains portion.
Okay, and like the GA, usually there is a misconception in the candidates that GA is easier for the people that are from the UPSC background, and they feel the freshers feel demotivated that the UPSC people are already preparing for the general awareness and all. So what is your take in it?
I would like to say to all the freshers ki aisa kuch bhi nahi hai. The UPSC, if those who are preparing for UPSC, they will find it equally difficult in the GA section, because I think UPSC focuses more on the conceptual value of the questions, and I think the questions asked in RBI are more factual, and I think more cramming is necessary in that, and you have to stay more up to date regarding even the slightest changes that are happening in the financial sector or the banking sector. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. जो यूपीएससी वाले तैयारी कर रहे हैं वो कोई ऐसे मतलब कोई तीर नहीं मार देंगे एग्जाम में. ये आरबीआई वाले जो स्पेशली फोकस करें, इवन आई वुड से द पीपल हु आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर वेरियस बैंकिंग एग्जाम्स, उनको ज्यादा फायदा है इस सेंस में, बिकॉज जीए उनने वैसे ही पढ़ रखा होता है. इवन मैंने जब आईडीबीआई में दिया था, आई गॉट लकी दैट टाइम. आई गॉट थ्रू बिकॉज ऑफ माय अदर सेक्शंस, But in RBI, you can't do that because 40% is GA. So you have to focus on that. So I mostly, during my 1.5 months of prelims preparation, I focused mostly on GA and mostly through questions.
See, and most of the candidates have the problem that they can't, like, they read everything, but they during the exam they can't recall the things that they have read. So what should be the revision strategy according to you?
Revision strategy for me has always been through MCQs. I think that's the best way to remember. I think जब गलत होता है कोई question, then you remember हाँ कि okay ये गलत हुआ था, and if you read it in a statement in any random book or anything, you won't be able to recollect because UPSC की preparation के through एक चीज तो पता चली कि because you will forget things. There's so much of information, ऐसा कोई guarantee नहीं है कि आप कितने बारी पढ़ लो आपको याद रहेगा. तो best is कि ये MCQs हैं जितने भी आपके, जितने mock test है उनको करो, उनको फिर analyze करो ठीक से, and you'll get a good idea कि हाँ ये topics important है, multiple जगह multiple institutes में ये देखा है, ये questions आ रहे हैं. So I think best way to revise, I think for me, I think this is not an advice, different strokes for different folks, but I think for me, I think especially I think MCQs did help and the test series and all.
Okay, so for you, the strategy was to do mock test, mostly also for the quant reasoning English as well as for the GA also for revision purpose. Okay.
And in that same timing, like you need to fix like 2 hours schedule. Yes. It can't be like कि तुम करे जा रहे हो, you take all your time solving the question. थोड़ा controlled environment में रखोगे तो I think it helps because I'm not an expert on this, but I think given my UPSC background, I can say कि हाँ revise करने के लिए best तरीका आपका questions के through ही है.
That's a nice advice for the aspirants. And I think like the sources that you followed were like
for the prelim stage.
Yes, for the phase 1.
For phase 1, I mostly followed Bankers Adda and EduTap for current affairs, and even for MCQs, I think there were certain tests on a couple of other websites also, and even EduTap had that marathon MCQ series. I think that helped quite a lot. So जितना हो सका था questions किए उस time for the preliminary stage. Quant and English is my strong point, and I would like to say to all the aspirants कि जो भी तुम्हारा strong point है उसे maximize करो. तो even पहले जब मैंने तैयारी नहीं की थी, I did score 30 on 30 I think in English the last time in preliminary stage, and even this time I think that helped a lot because थोड़ा English level भी tough था, and this is the first time I wasn't able to get through the questions. काफी लंबे भी थे paragraph, but I think I still scored well. I think 24-25 marks I scored. तो जो भी तुम्हारा strong point है उसको maximize करो. Like LR is my weak point out of the 3. तो LR में इतना focus नहीं किया मैंने. LR मुझे लगा कि हाँ I'll see mock test में कि okay इस type के questions आ रहे हैं. तो I'll see कि हाँ I'll identify these questions in the exam and I'll attempt them only. And उसके बाद देखते हैं अगर time बचता है तो I'll go to the other sections. But हाँ जो आपका section है उसको अपना maximize करना होगा आपको.
So the learning that we can get is like try to maximize and try to do as much as you can in your stronger parts, because that will help you to like move forward for the next phase.
Especially in the kind of exam that was this year, because the level of questions was surprisingly higher, and I think even the cutoff was 50 marks less than the previous year.
Yes,
I think the preliminary stage, है ना?
Yes,
so I think so that helped me actually because there are 2 types of tests, I think, the speed test and power test. One is we mostly focus on the speed, and others where the level of questions are a little higher than normal. This was more of a power test, and it helped me because speed ke exams mein I had given like in NABARD also. So I think jo banking candidates who are seriously preparing for banking, wo bahut jaldi kar lete hain solve. They know the tricks because they have gone to coaching institutes and all. LR ho, chahe maths ho, chahe even English ho. तो तब I found it difficult because तब लगता था attempt ही नहीं हो रहे उतने. But इस बार जैसे level भी अच्छा आ गया क्वेश्चन पेपर का, तो that helped me a lot because I could focus on the questions and not focus on the time. So I think I scored well. I think 78-79 marks I got in 3.
So you also need the concept clarity so that you can even like attempt the higher level of the questions.
हाँ, especially जो जैसा exam इस बार आया था, the level of exam जो maths का था, maths was really tough, English was really tough. उसके लिए conceptual clarity तो चाहिए ही थी थोड़ी सी, क्योंकि बहुत कम ऐसे freebies थे जो easily आप solve कर सको उसमें. फिर identify करना अलग, starting में आप देखोगे question solve ही नहीं हो रहे ऐसे, तो that also थोड़ा hope कम हो जाता है उस time. People feel कि हाँ मेरा section A चला गया, तो उस टाइम वो ये आपको कि आपको प्रिपेयर रहना है पूरा, आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि हाँ जैसा भी आए सेक्शन, ये कुछ टॉपिक्स हैं जो मेरे को अच्छे से आते हैं, आई विल फर्स्ट फाइंड दोस क्वेश्चंस, फोकस ऑन दोस क्वेश्चंस, उसके बाद देखेंगे.
Yes, nice. So now we can move to the phase 2 part, and phase 2 has English, like you said that you are good in English, so it like it wasn't a problem for you. as such?
Phase 2, I had no such source, no such source as such for English preparation. For English, I think I basically only did a couple of mocks to get a rough idea, because descriptive मैंने NABARD में लिखा हुआ था previously. ऐसे तो I had an idea कि इस टाइप की questions आएंगे and word limit कम होती है. And essay, हाँ, you have to condense your essay. Like जो भी लोग UPSC prepare कर रहे हैं, they know essay बहुत मतलब vast लिखना पड़ता है, उसमें 100,000 words से ज़्यादा. And in this आपको कंडेंस फॉर्म में लिखना पड़ता है, तो वो उसकी भी एक प्रैक्टिस है ऐसे as such. मैंने एक दो बार ऐसे ट्राई करके था लिख के कि whatever is the topic, I'll try to write first in like 600-800 words, whatever the limit is, and then I'll try to condense it into जो RBI the limit मांगी है, I think कितना 300 या 400 words का था. So that is also a skill, I think, क्योंकि ज़्यादा लिखना is आसान, condense करके अच्छा ऐसे लिखना is, I think, much more difficult.
Yes. So what was there, like you started from essay or you started from reading comprehension or pressing?
I mostly focus on, I think, reading comprehension first, because I think उससे ना you get into the flow of writing English, and काफी words भी मिल जाते हैं आपको जो आपको ऐसे में काम आएंगे. Even हाँ, जो प्रेसी राइटिंग वगैरह भी है उसमें, तो मतलब even since for instance before I always felt कि हाँ पहले प्रेसी ही करना है, and ऐसे I keep for the last, कि उसमें इतना टाइम बच रहा है कि ऐसे मैं आराम से सोच के लिख सकूं. ऐसे पहले ही डिवाइड कर देना टाइम कि इतना कितना 30-40 मिनट जितना भी चाहिए उतना रखा हूं ऐसे के लिए, and I focus on that in the end.
Yes. It is my first time hearing that you can get the like words from reading comprehension, and that's a good point. Like
Yeah,
yes,
because
you get
मतलब
in the
हाँ,
flow of reading and writing.
yeah, true. मतलब सबके लिए अलग होता है, but I personally feel that कि हाँ, because starting में जब UPSC exams दिए थे, I felt कि पहले मैं बाकी I started with essay every single time, and फिर बाद में मुझे लगा कि okay, a lot of words are coming to me. जब मैं बाद में attempt कर रहा हूँ questions reading comprehension वगैरह देख रहा हूँ, तब I felt कि okay, first I should solve this, और इससे भी कई अच्छे words आते हैं, you get something nice phrases and all. That will help you in, I think, essay. Sometimes, not always, but maybe sometimes.
Okay, so now like we can move to the ESI. So what did you think that your UPSC background helped you in the ESI portion, or it was like you had to start from the scratch?
I think descriptive part में it definitely helped, because हमें आदत है लिखने की long answers, and a lot of people found it difficult कि 600 words का है and you have to type it. And also typing helped me because typing speed I think मेरी अच्छी है, so that wasn't an issue. And I think मेरे लिए UPSC में एक नुकसान भी ये था कि my handwriting is very bad, so that was a plus for me कि typing है कम से कम mains में. So UPSC background did help in the descriptive part, but not so in the objective part, because काफी डिटेल एनालिसिस होती है इसमें कि रिपोर्ट्स आइडेंटिफाई करनी होती है, फिगर्स आइडेंटिफाई करने होते हैं, क्या क्या कहाँ हुआ है. सो इतना डिटेल में हम यूपीएससी में जाते नहीं थे. वी जस्ट गेट अ रफ आइडिया, ओके. बट इसमें आई थिंक डिड नॉट हेल्प दैट वे, बट आई न्यू कि हाँ ये मेजर चीजें हैं. यूपीएससी जस्ट गिव्स यू अ स्ट्रक्चर कि हाँ ये इंपॉर्टेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, ये है इंपॉर्टेंट रिपोर्ट्स है, तो आइडिया होता है तुम्हें, बट यू नेवर गो डीप इनटू इट. So yeah, this was the first time that I did, and I do mostly refer to like EduTap and summary sheets also of the static portions. So I think that was more than enough. But जिनको नहीं समझ आ रहा, I think videos YouTube पे more than enough है explain करने के लिए. तो जहाँ पे भी दिक्कत आती थी बस YouTube videos and Wikipedia and all. Investopedia really helps.
Yes. What according to you, what is a good structure for an answer of a descriptive paper?
That's very difficult to say, because I'm not in a position to say that, because I have written mains 4 times and I haven't cleared it. But I would still say like for anything, I think you should stick to what is asked in the question. जब from personal experience मेरे को लगा है कि जब you don't know the answer to that question, तुम थोड़ा you wander around कि हाँ ठीक है थोड़ा इसका लिख दिया, थोड़ा इसका लिख दिया, you just make up an answer. But if you have really good knowledge of that, so you'll focus exactly on what is asked. Like finance commission के ऊपर कुछ आया था, if I don't know it, I'll use my UPSC background and I'll say कि हाँ article 280 के अंदर है, इसका ये है, इसका वो है. But अगर किसी को specifically आता है तो he'll focus specifically on what is asked कि devolutions क्या है और उसमें क्या है. तो I think कि structure वो ये कि छोटा सा beginning होना चाहिए, like 2-3 lines. उसके बाद you focus on what the question is asked. एक बार वो answer हो जाए ठीक से, then to make up the words you can write a good conclusion, और उसमें you can add your own points.
Okay. And like it is like 600 words and 400 words you have to write. So did you stick to the like word limit, or you were like quality matters, so
no,
you wrote?
I stuck to the word limit because I think I was in a lucky position that I had plenty of time. I finished early, So I even condensed my answers in some cases, like where I felt कि okay 600 cross हो गया या 600 से कम है. I try to keep it near to that range कि 590 610 के बीच में रखना है. And 400 maybe similar. But जिसमें जैसे I did not know the answer to one question 400 marks वाला properly. Like I had a vague idea, but did not know the proper structure to that. So I think in that I wrote less, like 300, 350. But in all others, I stuck near the word limit.
Okay. And means you should have a good typing speed for doing that.
Yeah, that really helped. And I want to give the aspirants a hack that I learned myself from some person on YouTube. कि practice करना है तो एक थोड़े खराब से कीबोर्ड practice करो पहले before giving the actual exam. जो सस्ते से Logitech के आते हैं आपके 200 रुपए के ऐसे. तो कुछ लोगों ने उस पर प्रैक्टिस की थी and it helped them because आ तो जाती थोड़ी सी कि not so good keyboards लिखने की because mostly centers में वैसे ही होता है.
Yes.
And I personally did not do it, but a lot of my friends did it, but उनको काफी help हुई.
Okay. So, and the sources that you said were like EduTap schemes, like you did from there, or you watched the videos. So that was the sources.
One more I'd like to add for the dynamic part is that Vision IAS. I used to refer to that. That really helped.
So these were the sources that you used because
for ESI.
For ESI.
But I think for to stick to these sources, you must have first like a basic understanding of economics, and उसके लिए NCERT you can read like macroeconomics. उससे जितना पूछते हैं, I think you'll get a good idea. उतना काफी है, I think. उसके बाद you can go to the institute notes and the summary sheets and all.
So you should have like the aspirants should have the basic idea of the terms, the terminology and all.
Exactly.
Then they will be able to understand the news, the current affairs and all. And then they will be able to write also. So
exactly.
That's nice. Now we can move to FM, like the finance and management. So it was easy for you, or you found it hard that because you were from the engineering background, but you did the UPSC preparation. So
yeah, that is one section. I think that has very little relevance to if anyone has prepared for UPSC or not. I found it the most difficult because I think we were lucky that the paper was a little on the easier side, because it could have been very tough. If they wanted to make a tough paper on finance and management, बहुत tough बन सकता है. So that was the toughest part of mains for me personally. Spent most of my time studying finance and FM only. And for that also, I had referred to mostly the summary sheets. And उससे थोड़ा difficult है समझना for the first timer, because मेरा भी कोई experience नहीं as such in the finance sector. तो मेरे को भी काफी रेफर करना पड़ा ऑनलाइन. So you need to keep referring it. Summary sheets नहीं हो रही, then you go for the longer videos. क्योंकि वीडियो से बेटर आई थिंक बेस्ट आई थिंक फॉर एनीथिंग टू गेट द इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ न्यू सब्जेक्ट, वीडियो सबसे इजी है. तो यू गो फॉर वीडियोस, पर सबके लिए अलग है. सम पीपल लाइक टू रीड बुक्स, तो बहुत सी बुक्स भी थी, मैं भी लेके आया था, बट आई हार्डली रेड देम. आई फोकस्ड मेनली ऑन द इंस्टीट्यूट नोट्स एंड आई मोस्टली आई गूगल सर्च अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स बिकॉज आई हैड वेरी लिटिल आइडिया अबाउट द टर्म्स यूज्ड इन फाइनेंस एंड मैनेजमेंट. तो बहुत गूगल सर्च करना पड़ा था. बट फायदा मैनेजमेंट में थोड़ा सा ये था कि मेरा ऑप्शनल साइकोलॉजी है इन यूपीएससी, तो द मैनेजमेंट थ्योरीज एंड ऑल वो आई हैड रेड बिफोर, तो थोड़ा उससे फायदा हो गया. बट फाइनेंस एंड मैनेजमेंट आई विल से कि इज वेरी स्कोरिंग एज वेल, तो उसको से छोड़ नहीं सकते. आई थिंक अगर मैं थोड़ा और प्रैक्टिस की होती आई कुड हैव स्कोर्ड बेटर. आई थिंक आई स्कोर्ड 72 के अराउंड, बट पेपर वाज ऑन द इजियर साइड एज वेल. तो उसकी सोर्सेज इफ आई हैड टू से ऐसे कि इसमें लिमिटेड ही रखो, एंड जितना आप एक बार सिलेबस पढ़ लो सबसे पहले कि क्या है फाइनेंस मैनेजमेंट का, उसके बाद लिमिटेड सोर्सेज रखो, और अगर समझ नहीं आ रहा तो खुद गूगल करो. एंड इट्स बेस्ट अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई है तैयारी करने के लिए, साथ में कोई फ्रेंड है, तो आई थिंक इट रियली हेल्प्स. क्योंकि आरबीआई में आई हैड नो अदर पर्सन हु वाज प्रिपेयरिंग विद मी, बिकॉज़ मोस्ट ऑफ माय फ्रेंड्स हु आर यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स they were into some other exam like state PCS or something. So yeah.
Okay, so like you only focused on the YouTube videos and that were the sources for finance and management.
नहीं ऐसे मतलब summary sheets and all I read, but I think they were like total 400 odd pages of PDF, but go through करना उनसे आसान है, पर उनसे extract करना information इतना easy नहीं है. So till the end I felt कि बहुत खराब हो सकता है पेपर, because जितना deep जाएंगे ये उतना help होगा उन लोगों को जिनने finance पढ़ा है या MBA में किया है, because certain things you just can't learn in a month or two. इतना मतलब you can cram it, but तुम्हें deep understanding नहीं आएगी उनकी. But जिस तरह का पेपर आया था, I think it was on the easier side and that helped a lot.
And like, did you practice for the numericals also in finance, or you were like, they doesn't come that much?
नहीं, starting में I practiced, I think the first week or so, but then mostly everyone was doing कि बहुत rarely पूछते हैं, इतना time waste नहीं करने होते इस पे, तो I think उसके बाद मैंने छोड़ दिया था. I did rectify all the formulas and all, but इतना focus नहीं किया था उस पे. I think मेरे को लगा था मैं मैक्सिमाइज अपना मैनेजमेंट पोर्शन में करूंगा because that is relatively easier.
Yes. So they shouldn't like focus too much on numericals because it is asked less, but it is not like you can just leave.
Yeah, but I can't say that ना next year अगर ज्यादा आ गया तो people will say कि हाँ this is of utmost importance. तो वो देखना पड़ेगा ट्रेड के हिसाब से. I
Yes.
won't give anyone this advice कि छोड़ के जा numericals.
Sure. Yeah.
हाँ, because that's a plus point. अगर किसी को आता है तो फायदा ही है because एग्जाम में आएगा तो like 70% people नहीं कर पाएंगे तो तुम्हें फायदा ही है.
So the risk has to be taken by the aspirant only,
Yeah,
that he wants to like do it or just leave it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now like you told the sources that you did from the videos, you read the summary sheets and all, and finance and management is also not easy for you. Still like you were able to do it. So now we can move to the interview, I guess. So how was the interview for you? Like the panel was cordial or it was grilling? It was a grilling session.
I think mine was the first or second day of the interviews. I think the panel was cordial actually, but the marks awarded weren't as such as I expected. I expected the interview went mediocre, I think, because the questions I answered well, but my biodata wasn't strong enough because I had very little experience in the finance sector or in the banking sector. There were so many candidates who were working for the last 3-4 years in SBI or other good banks, and a lot of MBAs as well, CAs as well. So I think my biodata was the letdown, but the questions asked, I think they didn't go much as deep in the analysis as to some other candidates. I think they asked me around 8 to 10 questions. The interview was around 15 minutes, and I answered like 80% of them. So the interview went good. But a couple of things I had mentioned about data that wasn't the best, I think, because I would like to advise all the future candidates, first of all, ki, please biodata में ध्यान से भरना every single thing, because they बहुत ही ध्यान से they dissect each and everything that you wrote in biodata. So please be ready to defend whatever you wrote. And I think एक और issue ये भी हुआ था कि बहुत बार लोगों ने इस बार updated biodata भेजा था. First they had sent up the original biodata, and then RBI had given some time and said you can make some changes and send the updated one. So I had sent the updated one. This is my personal story, ऐसे बार, and it happened to a lot of people as well. कि बहुत लोगों ने अपना updated biodata भेजा था, but when the interview time came, so the panel had the older one. So the very first question that was sent by way took me aback a little because I wasn't prepared. I thought कि this was in the older biodata. ये कहाँ से आ गया? But you have to be prepared at that moment कि जैसे जो भी हो ये ध्यान रखना अगली बार जो भी दे रहे हैं.
Okay, so it was like your profile also matters, like the biodata and the profile. Yeah.
Profile also matters. I would never say that it doesn't, because कि अगर कोई है, अगर logically भी सोचूं, मैं objectively सोचूं, अगर कोई है who has previous experience in that sector, थोड़ा edge तो मिलेगा ही. They expect more from him. That I agree कि questions ज़्यादा deep पूछेंगे उससे. अगर someone is working as a manager in SBI, तो obviously उसको tougher questions पूछे जाएंगे. पर ऐसे कोई इतना नेगेटिव भी नहीं था. Decent मतलब decent से मार्क्स आए इंटरव्यू में. बट ये है कि अगर आप ऐड कर सकते हो कुछ कोर्सेज एंड ऑल, क्योंकि गैप ईयर वाला बहुत इशू होता है, बिकॉज इन द लास्ट 7 years आई हैव हैड ऑलमोस्ट लिटिल ओवर 4 years ऑफ गैप, 2.5 to 3 years of working and 4 years of gap. तो गैप का इशू तो आता है, ऑब्वियसली यू हैव टू एड्रेस दैट. तो अगर बीच में इफ यू कैन डू सम कोर्सेज एंड ऑल अलोंग द वे, तो दैट विल हेल्प आई थिंक, बिकॉज उनको भी लगे कि हाँ हमारे साइड अगर ये बैंकिंग सेक्टर साइड में आना तो ही इज मेकिंग सम एफर्ट टुवर्ड्स इट. ऐसे.
And so they did grill you on the thing that you had taken the gap, or they were like...
No, that is the thing. They didn't grill me at all. And I thought that the panel was very cordial and they didn't ask me all the questions that I feared and all. But I don't know what happened. And I think it must have been for the biodata itself that I didn't get such good marks. But I was lucky enough because I had scored good marks in mains. Okay. So I got through.
Okay, so I think that is all. Any message that you want to give the people that have been preparing for so long, and any message for the freshers also?
ये तो बहुत tough. I would say that there's no single way, there's no right or wrong way preparation के लिए. सबका अपना pace है. अगर if I prepared well before, maybe I would have cleared RBI before. It's all about कि कितना importance दे रखते तुम first of all to the examination. बहुत लोगों का ये होता है, like me included, who are keeping it as a second option after UPSC. Yes. But I think if you keep it as your first option and if you give a solid 6 to 8 months, easily it can be cleared. Because I think the preliminary stage is the most difficult. उस पे focus करो first of all. Don't jump straight into the main stage, because first attempt के time मैं भी बहुत overconfident था and I went straight into the mains preparation. कि prelims तो हो ही जाएगा. इट्स इजी ऐसे, पर ऐसा नहीं होता। प्रीलिम्स को आपको बहुत फोकस करना पड़ेगा, और रिसेंटली जिस तरह से ट्रेंड चल रहा है, प्रीलिम्स इज द मोस्ट क्रूशियल स्टेज। एंड मेंस में तो वैसे भी अभी सब्जेक्टिविटी है, सब्जेक्टिव आंसर्स के, तो यू हैव टू स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग आल्सो, थोड़ा आंसर राइटिंग की प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी। बट डरने की कोई बात नहीं, आई थिंक एज सच, क्योंकि सबको ही थोड़ा सा इस टाइम ऐसा है कि पीपल डोंट नो एग्जैक्टली कि हाउ टू प्रिपेयर फॉर द डिस्क्रिप्टिव पार्ट। इट्स न्यू फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल, इवन द एक्सपीरियंस कैंडिडेट्स, उनको ये लग रहा था कि ऑब्जेक्टिव इतने सालों से कर रहे हैं, अभी अचानक से डिस्क्रिप्टिव डाल दिया, तो उनके लिए भी नया है। तो आई थिंक ऐसा कोई अनड्यू एडवांटेज नहीं है कि पहले से प्रिपेयर भी कर रहा है। सो आई थिंक जो नया फ्रेशर्स हैं, स्पेशली जो अभी ग्रेजुएट हुए हैं, जो यंग कैंडिडेट्स हैं, आई थिंक इफ यू आर फोकसिंग सोनली ऑन आरबीआई, इट कैन इजीली बी डन। और काफी आपके पास सोर्सेज हैं, इवन फ्री सोर्सेज, टेलीग्राम पे भी, यूट्यूब पे भी, देयर आर प्लेंटी ऑफ ऑप्शंस टू स्टडी, गेट अ गुड स्टडी ग्रुप, एंड हो सकता है यार, ऐसे कोई इतना टफ चीज नहीं है ऐसे। बट ये है कि सब्जेक्टिविटी रहेगी, देयर विल ऑलवेज बी समवन जो बोलेगा कि जस्ट रह गया, और देयर ऑलवेज समवन लाइक मी, आई वुड से कि हाँ आई डोंट नो, थोड़ा लकी था, हो गया ऐसे। तो इट कैन गो ईदर वे।
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for
थैंक यू
coming.
सो मच फॉर हैविंग
And
मी।
yeah, like you gave many of the advices, many of the things that the learners must, like the aspirants and the candidates must know. And that was really nice talking to you for me also. And thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much,
Thank you, sir.
thank you।